The woman took off her clothes and lay on the workbench as a scanner slowly scanned her body. She looked at the monitor and didn't notice any abnormalities, but in the next second, countless tentacles tightly wrapped around her. A spaceship set off for an alien planet to carry out exploration missions, with an estimated travel time of 40 years. C.A.T Corporation sent 8 employees to participate in this mission. However, these 8 individuals came from different branches across the country, and they already had some disagreements as soon as they boarded the spaceship. C.A.T complained to Captain Hamilton that this group of people was too restless, but Hamilton didn't think much of it. As long as they safely completed this journey, that would be enough. The doctor on the spaceship performed a final physical examination on everyone, and they all entered the sleep pods. After an unknown period of time, the spaceship detected an unknown creature approaching. The mainframe immediately issued an order to intercept it. However, an accident occurred during the interception process. The unknown creature entered the spaceship's water tank in the circulation system and dissolved into the water flow. The pipes were corroded and burst. At that moment, Lily, the cat on the spaceship, unexpectedly arrived at the scene. 40 years had passed, and the people in the sleep pods gradually awakened. Nancy, who had awakened, frantically searched for her pet cat, Lily. The crew members began to return to their workstations. The spaceship launched the probe according to the plan. C.A.T discovered an urgent message from the company. The company executives found that 2 criminals had infiltrated among the 8 individuals on the spaceship. However, the information about these 2 individuals had been deleted, indicating that the infiltrators had taken precautions. The crew analyzed that the infiltrators were likely using this voyage to escape criminal charges since the journey was estimated to last 40 years. When they return to Earth, they'll be out of prosecution for their crimes. Carolyn discovered the corroded pipes, and Captain Hamilton immediately arranged for Takagi and Morgan to handle the emergency, while the others rested. Carolyn mentioned that someone had used the computer while everyone was in sleep mode, suggesting it might be the 2 infiltrators. It was crucial to find them as soon as possible. Morgan couldn't stand the loneliness and wandered around the spaceship. A while later, Guy conducted their routine patrol of the spacecraft and discovered Morgan dead at the corroded pipe location. Guy immediately sounded the alarm, and Lily the cat arrived at the scene, her eyes gleaming as she looked at the lifeless Morgan. After a medical examination, it was determined that Morgan died from suffocation due to a bacterial infection in the abdomen. This virus was known as the Legion virus on Earth. However, the spaceship had been disinfected before takeoff. To prevent the situation from worsening, Captain Hamilton ordered everyone to form groups and inspect various parts of the spacecraft. However, no useful clues were found, but when Dick was browsing the computer files, he came across an urgent notification from C.A.T Corporation. He questioned Hamilton about why he had concealed the information, but Hamilton believed that the immediate priority was to find the virus that had infiltrated the spaceship. Dick insisted on finding the 2 infiltrators. Just as the 2 were arguing, Dorothy suddenly contacted Hamilton to inform him that the doctor had also encountered an accident. Like Morgan, the doctor had been infected with the virus. The atmosphere instantly became tense. At this moment, Dick insisted on uncovering the hidden individuals, and everyone reluctantly had to cooperate. First was Dorothy from Hong Kong, but she suddenly changed her attitude during the file check and refused to reveal much about her privacy. The situation reached a deadlock, and Captain Hamilton shook his head helplessly. Just then, he received a message from Carolyn that the 2 people checking the hangar had lost contact. The camera footage showed that something had happened to them as well. For everyone's safety, Hamilton placed the men in a separate room. Meanwhile, the cat Lily unexpectedly ran out. At that moment, Dick insisted on finding the 2 criminals. It seemed that he also had undisclosed secrets. Although the others were reluctant, they had no choice but to cooperate. Knowing that Dick had weapons, during the halfway point of the verification process, another unexpected event occurred. Takagi realized that the bodies of the dead suddenly disappeared. When the captain asked how he found out, Takagi explained that he had unintentionally stumbled upon it while searching for the cat with Nancy. Suddenly, an alarm sounded, and Nancy discovered that the cat was trapped within the wall, slowly melting into a pool of blood. The consecutive accidents plunged everyone into panic. Hamilton immediately ordered entry into the spaceship's main body and dismantling of the cabin where the incidents occurred. At this point, Dick insisted on verifying the identity of the last 2 individuals, but no issues were found. Just then, the spaceship's cabin door suddenly opened, and the main computer broke free from Carolyn's control. The 2 individuals inspecting the spaceship and the cabin were sucked into space. Could it be that someone else was controlling the spaceship? Hamilton arrived at the spaceship's control center, only to find that the main cabin door couldn't open. The situation became increasingly mysterious. It was then that Takagi stepped forward and led everyone to the medical room, where they discovered Dorothy's clothes. It appeared that she had also been invaded by the Legion virus. The others were puzzled by how Takagi knew all this. It turned out he had heard about the Legion virus before, which had previously appeared in New York. The virus reproduced after entering the pipes and then spread through the ventilation system. In other words, everyone on board was potentially infected with the virus, but the incubation period varied. Upon hearing this, panic spread among the group, except for Dick, who remained calm. He was certain that Takagi was one of the two infiltrators. It was revealed that Dick was not an employee of the Sincam company but rather a police officer, tasked with arresting Takagi, who had committed murders on Earth. Captain Hamilton came forward to mediate with Dick, but Dick insisted on sticking to his principles. It was then that Hamilton shared his own past. He and Carolyn were over 200 years old. Initially, being an astronaut seemed like an exciting job, but with the development of hibernation systems, time had lost its meaning. Every time they returned to Earth, the people around them would age and die, treating them like living fossils. As time went on, Hamilton gradually felt that living had no meaning, so the things Dick is currently pursuing will gradually fade away with the passage of time. For a moment, everyone fell into silence. At that moment, Dorothy suddenly appeared, but then she split into the form of a cat. Nancy was so scared that she fainted on the spot. Dick, seeing this, pulled out his gun. Takagi rushed to stop him. Because of gravity, the reaction force of the gun is multiplied. Both of them were instantly ejected. Now, the only solution was to open the sealed control room and close all the doors to other sections to prevent the virus from spreading further. However, another unexpected event occurred along the way. Carolyn and Jimmy were both consumed by the virus. Hamilton opened the control room and found the cat inside. Lily, the cat, revealed a vicious demeanor, forcing Hamilton to use a flamethrower to kill it. However, upon closer inspection, Hamilton realized that the cat was actually a mechanical entity. It took advantage of his momentary distraction and escaped the room. Hamilton learned from the main control room's computer that the cat was a biomimetic robot employed by the company. Throughout the 20-year journey, it had been controlling the spaceship. Hamilton initially planned to shut down the infected areas, but he discovered that he had no control over them. Helplessly, he led the remaining survivors away. However, they encountered mutated viruses on their way. The viruses had multiplied and merged, forming a massive monster. With the cover of the flamethrower, they managed to escape safely. At this point, Hamilton revealed everything to the group. The company sent a cat just like Lily to infiltrate the spaceship. Lily had been manipulating the spaceship all along. In order to keep the information from this voyage completely secret, Sincam Corporation had instructed the robotic cat to eliminate everyone on board. Moreover, it was highly likely that Lily was responsible for the virus outbreak. Suddenly, Dick's body was overcome by the virus and transformed into a pool of blood, instantly absorbed by the ceiling. Before anyone could react, the spaceship began violently shaking. It seemed that Lily intended to kill them all. With no way out, Takagi decided to end his own life. Hamilton encouraged Takagi and Nancy to survive, and returned to Earth to expose Sincam's evil deeds. There was an escaped spaceship on the spacecraft that could allow them to leave. Hamilton chose to stay behind and resolve the matter. However, Lily had already discovered the two attempting to escape and led the virus onto their spaceship. In this dire situation, Hamilton opened the energy conduits and detonated the main body of the spaceship. Takagi and Nancy managed to successfully escape back to Earth.